understand about that one in terms of the science. So I will always in the terms of science, yes, I'm able to understand about the basic and fundamentals, how it is actually materials behaves at the atomic level or molecular level. Yes, we are able to say about classical and quantum mechanics. When it goes for the application, it was really wonderful. So I always appreciate that I'm able to understand myself the science and the engineering concept behind this. But today's session, I am going for entirely different. So I saw your people brochure. So it is about the computational techniques which is missing in that part in the novel materials. So I'm happy to address that. I will share my presentation. Is it visible?
Yes.
Yeah. So today I'm going for Cartwright approach ICME tool for novel materials. So in this I'm going to start with what is ICME Cartwright approach, and then I'm directly going for the applications. So even in Cartwright approach I have only very few slides. So it is mainly to understand the concept, not too much. So basic fundamentals, because in one session it's not possible to complete everything. So, in the case of integrated computational materials engineering, that is normally coined as ICME, this word also came into picture in 2008. Okay, so before that, people used the terminology called as computational material science. Yes, there are various field of materials which can be addressed using that computer. That is the simple as that. But then people are started thinking about that, is it possible to connect everything, so it is become a single term, so integrated computational materials engineering. With that, is it possible to design the, okay, so everyone is in the computational material science, everyone is working in the different field of the materials, but they didn't we are not able to complete it as a product. That is about the disadvantage of computational material science. But when we are combining, when we are saying that combining, we are going to start with we are going to start with electronic structure, right? So people always talk about the quantum mechanics, so electronic structure. Then we are able to go for the atomistic, where the crystallography comes into picture, right? Then we are able to go for the microstructure. When I'm moving from electronic to atomistic or microstructure, each stage I'm able to see that the number of atoms are increasing. The number of atoms are increasing, or my size of the specimen is also increasing. When I'm moving this field from the electronic to the microstructure or macro scale, I'm able to move completely from the science to engineering. I'm able to completely move from science to engineering. But this computational material science, what it makes, whoever may be the science or engineering, once if you are enter into the computational material science, it is important for us to understand the basic concept and how we are going to apply it. So if you look for this electronic atomistic or microstructure, immediately people comes into the picture of structure property correlation. Even my MSc project, it is about structure property correlations of nicotinic ligands, which is play one of the important role in this HIV part of it. So I started with that one in terms of organic molecules to address about the structure activity relationship. So when I thought about structure activity relationship, so I consider at that stage it is about these molecules. Okay, these molecules are addressed with respect to the quantum mechanics calculation like 44. So yes, it is possible, but when I move one step ahead, it is about this in the electronic structure calculation. When I'm talking about Hartree-Fock theory and all these things, it is applicable for organic molecules. When I'm going for these the atoms which has more atomic numbers like the transition metals, I forced to jump to the atomic level of modeling. So where I have to look for the crystal structure that is also affecting the properties. Yes, in the electronic state, we are able to talk about this in semiconductor, even the one atoms which I move, its property is going to change. Similarly, in the case of atomistic level, when I'm talking about BCC and FCC crystal structures, and people are talking about these FCC metals are ductile and BCC metals are brittle in nature. Where it comes the property, I'm talking about the structure. Yes, I'm going to look about the energy, but it is affecting the property. So this is plays a important role. So I understood that yeah, structure and the if it may be atomic level, it may be a molecular level, yeah, it's going to be clear. Then next stage, when I joined for this metallurgy, people are started talking about the microstructure, that is about the grain structure, crystalline, polycrystalline, everything. Okay, let it be. What, why I have to study all these things? Then people are able to come into that. Uh, Based on the grain, it is also going to affect the properties. And if it is a fine grain, yes, it is going to be uh, high strength material. If it is a coarse grain, then it is going to be soft material or the ductile material. And people are talking about the nano grain. Then why suddenly it comes into nano grain comes into picture? Then I'm able to slowly able to understand that yes, microstructure also related with the property. So every stage when we are talking about the properties, so it is depends upon the electronic level, it is depends upon the atomistic level, it is depends upon the microstructure level. Then only we are able to go for the macrostructure, right? So now I am able to see that yes, there is a structure property correlationship. When I joined for metallurgy, that time I'm looking for how the bulk materials are produced. So it is about the processing which is actually involved, right? There are various processing like casting, forging, extrusion, rolling. Because if you look at this, normally I will give the example that Laplace-Clapeyron equation. It is able to help us to understand about the thermodynamics. If pressure increases, that transition temperature is going to decrease. That is about the Laplace-Clapeyron concept. Yes, that is well and good, but that is converted into pressure cooker by the with the help of the engineer, right? The concept is from the science, and it is converted into product through engineers, so it reaches the people. It reaches the people. Then it is important for us to know about this processing, and slowly I am able to understand that the during the processing, if we are able to affect any of these structures, it may be atomic structure or microstructure or molecular structure, we are able to affect this. On the other way, during the processing, if these structures are affected, then the properties what I'm expected is not possible to get. Or if I want to modify something, that is also possible to do during the process. During the processing, then in the integrated computation and material engineering, people are understood that. So they used all these concepts to design the product, and they are decided to use the simulation tools at each step what we are using. That is going to for the multi-scale modeling. That is can be multi-scale modeling. So we are able to increase the length scale from the nanometer to meter. Okay, this is combination is called as.
Voice is breaking.
Is it okay now?
Please, yeah, a little bit. Yeah, thank you.
I think so.
Okay.
It's,
Fine. So if you look at this initial stage, people are manufactured product using metals and alloys. Okay, so they will use different combination. They will look for these material characterization. So they will know about what are the phases are there and how the microstructure is going to be, and they will do the testing. They will do the testing, and this is going to be a cycle. This is going to be a cycle: manufacture, mechanical test, and material characterization. Now this ICME come into the picture in the cycle. It is going to speed up the process. It is going to speed up the process, and whatever this we are going to do in the manufacturing of metals and alloys, yes, we are having a software tool so to understand about this casting process, or it is can be a simulation tool which is available for the heat treatment process. In the case of mechanical test, yes, using finite element method, we are able to do the tensile testing. Without a sample, we are able to do the tensile testing and able to identify the properties. And in the case of the dislocation crystallographic texture, yes, molecular dynamics able to support for us to understand about how we are going to get. Even for microstructure, yes, phase field modeling is there. So we are able to know about how the microstructure when we are doing the solidification. So this integrated computational materials engineering, it is actually speed up the process. Actually, it speed up the process. Even if you want to find any novel materials, it is going to support us in a short period to achieve our task. So in the ICME, I'm going to talk about especially this region, and it is going to be a part of one process. Okay, there are a lot more modeling is there, but related to my talk, I took it. But ICME is it's about a vast area. Whatever we are doing in the experimental, and we are able to do it in the computational. So now we know about this how vast this experimental field is. So in the case of in this ICME related to this microstructure, so I'm going to start with this atomistic modeling with respect to the first principle calculation. So people already know about this terminology, first principle calculation, and the other way people always use about the density functional theory or ab initio. All these technical terms are going to be the same. And first principle, why they use this terminology? Because it is going, because we need to know only two information. We have to know about what is the crystal structure and what are the position atoms are occupied. Okay. Only with that information, we are able to say that that structure is stable or not. Or we are able to say that what is the energy of this, what is the enthalpy of the system. Okay, even some extent we are able to say that what is the elastic model. Okay, so if the structure may be unstable, may be metastable, or may be stable, whatever may be the status, we are able to get it. We are not going to touch the material, and we don't need to know it is existing or not. But we are able to do the multiple calculation, and we are able to come to the calculation, yes, it is stable or not, right? But the disadvantage in the first principle calculation, it is about the zero. If it is 0 Kelvin, we all know that then entropy part is not appear. So if the entropy part is not appear, then how we are going to talk about in room temperature? We know that 0 Kelvin and room temperature, there is almost 300 Kelvin difference is there, right? So now people are started thinking about if we are thinking only 0 Kelvin, how come we know about these at room temperature or high temperature? Then phonon calculation comes into picture. If phonon calculation give it hands, and we are able to calculate the entropy at various temperatures, so we are able to say the stability. Okay, so with this help of this first principle calculation, it is gives some of the input value for this CalFAD approach. So CalFAD is nothing but calculation of phase diagram. Calculation of phase diagram is going to be CalFAD approach. Initially, people are did this with using this experimental techniques. Yes, still experimental techniques are needed. Without that, it is not possible. But with this ICME, it is going to support us for this speed up the process. So, in the case of calculation of phase diagram, when we are doing experimentally, yes, we are able to get the phase diagram, but we are not able to get the thermodynamic properties at various places of this phase diagram. Okay, we are not able to get thermodynamic data from the experimental phase diagram. But in the case of computational phase diagram, or calculated phase diagram, we are able to get this constitutional information with respect to the temperature and also about this thermodynamic parameter and also about the thermodynamic parameter. So in that modeling, if you look at that, some of the data are not if not possible to get, then they use the empirical model. Initially, they started with this empirical model to fill that unknown parameter, but Now, first principle calculation give its hand to find the empirical parameter. So, the accuracy of the calculated phase diagram, it is continuously increases because of this. Okay. So, this calculated phase diagram, whatever we are able to get, this is going to give input for the phase field modeling. Okay. So, and also we are able to get some input from the first principle calculation, because phase field modeling, we are able to get the microstructure. We are able to get the microstructure without touching the experiment, without doing any solidification techniques. We are able to see the microstructure, what kind of microstructure it will form. That is about the advantage of the phase field modeling. And with this, we are able to get the mechanical properties using micromechanical model. We are using micromechanical model. So this is about one way of process. There are different software or available related to this. For example, in the first principle calculation, we are able to say about VAS, CASTAB, DMOL 3, BN2K. So a lot of softwares are available. Then some people still they are writing the code that is also available, and some of the free software is also available. One of the software I'm able to do example as Quantum Espresso. In the case of calculated phase diagram, yes, Pandat, MD Data, Thermocol software is available. Now recently OpenCalphad is also available. OpenCalphad is a free software. In the case of phase field modeling, one is about people are able to write the code on their own, what is the microstructure they are able to get, or some people they are going for the software like JMAT Pro, and micromechanical model also they are having lot of software. In the case of software, here we have to understand that whenever we are using the software, everything is going to be in the numbers 0 and 1, right? So the computer know the language only and 0 and 1. So we are going to express everything in terms of the mathematical. Okay, when we are going to express everything in terms of mathematical, the output is also going to be the numbers or a diagram. Okay, so whatever we give the input, it is going to give some output. It is our duty. Okay, it is our responsible. Whatever the answer it gives, it is effective or not. It has a physical meaning or not. We have to decide about this in terms of this computational material science. So this ICME, it was coined in National Academic Press in 2008. In Material Genome Initiative, it is about this group of federal agencies. They joined together. They understood that importance of this ICME, and they funded a large amount of money for this ICME. So it is about $500 million in terms of resources or in terms of facilities they developed. So the various institute, it is about Department of Energy, Department of Defense, and National Institute of Standard and Techniques, and another one is about the NASA. These people are actually funded, and they decided that to speed up the process. Okay, so if you look at that, already experimental tools are available with us. Yes, computational tools are available with that. And one more important thing is in the computational tools, always it is going to give the data. Okay, if we combine everything together, and if you are able to make a product or design a product, with this, we are able to achieve our need in clean energy, our next generation workforce, our national security, our human welfare. Whatever we want to achieve in the material sense, if we are having this ICMP, we are able to speed up and reduce the cost for investing on the other way, discovering, developing. Okay, that is going to be reduced a lot. With that, the Material Geome Initiative is started for ICM. Now we are able to see that some of the foreign universities are offering that ICME program, but especially in PG and India also few IITs are started about ICME. Recently I saw that in IIT Hyderabad, right? So they are also offering ICME as a PG course. So that is about the current developing field, which we have to understand. And especially in this pandemic situation, we are not able to access the facilities, right? So if you are having some kind of modeling work, so you are also able to perform or work effectively. So now I will move to the calculation of phase diagram. So calculation of phase diagram, it is shortly called as CalPER. So if you look at this space diagram is almost like a roadmap for understanding the material behavior. Because if you are having the map, okay, so we know that if I travel 150 kilometers from here in the north, what is the place I will reach? Okay, even if I started working randomly, okay, if I'm following something and then at the end I know that where am I if I look at the map, right? Now we are having the Google map. Even if I move randomly and then if I look at that my location, yes, I'm able to know where am I. So similarly, if we are going to handle with the materials, we have to know about where the materials are, because we know that structure is going to affect the properties, right? The particular phase which is present in is going to affect the properties. If the various element which is present, that is also going to affect the properties. And if you look at that in real time, our whatever we are handling, it is about multiple element, multi-components are present in it. For example, in the laboratory level, when we are looking for this research, we will always look for the high purity material, right? We always look for the high purity materials. For example, if I'm looking for iron and carbon system, I will say that I need 99.99% purity for iron and the carbon, right? That is the expectation. But in real time, we will always use that another technical term instead of purity. We will use the terminology commercial purity. The commercial purity comes approximately 98%. Okay, so then remaining 2% going to be the impurities. So various element is going to be present. If the various element is present, then it is can form some compound. Then that is going to affect the properties. So whatever we are doing it in the laboratory level, when we want to transform into the mass production, we are able to see that there are lot of gap between the research level and about this mass production. Okay, now that has to be addressed, because if you are taking that the gap is more, when we want to bring the product in real time, that is also going to take place a very long period. That is also going to take place a very long period. So if you want to minimize that time period, this is one of the tool of ICME, that is about the CalPER. That is about the CalPER. That is help us to determine phase diagrams. So when I'm talking about the applications, you are able to understand the impact of this CalPER. Okay? So this CalPER, if you observe that it is going to combine experimental and also theoretical techniques. It is going to combine experimental and also theoretical techniques. So that's the way it is. We are able to get better accuracy of this phase diagram. But people can ask that, is it possible to determine without any experimental data? Yes, it is possible. There is a cluster variation method, or the first principle calculation methods are already available. But for the binary, okay, but when we are going for ternary or multi-component, it is quite complex. It needs some more time to develop or coming to the stage. In the case of the experimental, it is going to be a time-consuming, tedious, and it is about the costly process, right? And if I'm looking for the three element, if I'm looking for the various combination of the three element and various temperature, then approximately if I want to complete the phase diagram with respect to three elements, it is for me it is going to take 10 years, even though if I have all the facilities. Okay, if a single person, if we are giving all the facilities, the person will take approximately 10 years to complete the phase diagram. But if you are combining these two, whatever the experimental data already available, use it, and use the theoretical modeling, yes, use it. By combining this, we are able to get the phase diagram much farther, much faster, and that too especially multi-component, because the industry need the answer immediately. During the process, if they are facing any problem, they want the answer immediately. So they will use this CalPER approach. So this is a simple flowchart which we are able to look at about in for CalCAD approach. So it is going to use the crystallographic information. It is going to use about this constitutional information. Yes, it is also going to use that thermodynamic information or thermochemical information. By combining these three, the phases are going to express in the mathematical model. For example, if I'm saying the liquid phase, yes, liquid phase is going to be expressed in terms of mathematical equation. Okay. So when we are expressing in terms of mathematical equation, it is also going to have some unknown parameter that has to be determined with the help of this experimental data. Then we will get this complete information in terms of this equation. This it is going to be stored in a database. This databases are going to be used whenever we need. Okay, so this is going to reduce the complete information. So this is about this modeling. It is going to be depends upon the Gibbs energy, because the Gibbs energy it is depends upon the parameter of pressure, temperature, and composition. These three are we are able to control on it, so we are using the Gibbs energy instead of other Helmholtz energy or enthalpy or internal energy. So when we are want to define the phase, we have to know about the reference Gibbs energy or the randomness, that is configurational entropy. And due to mixing, sometimes we will have exothermic reaction or endothermic reaction. Some changes is taking place whenever we are mixing. That is going to be the excess Gibbs energy and some physical contribution like if it has matter. So that simple phase, which is divided into four. Okay? So everything is going to express in terms of mathematical equation. So this is about this modeling part of it. So we are expressing a phase. For example, liquid is going to express this kind of expression. But if you look at this first one, we already have the information. This second term of this equation, it is just and with the chemical composition, we are able to calculate. And this one, if you look at this Lij, it is expressed as a polynomial, okay, which has unknown parameter, nothing but A, B, C, D, something like that. So each phase is going to have 3 or 4 unknown parameters. So if you combine each other, if it satisfies this experimental data, we are able to get this mathematical equation. If you look at this equation, it is going to be based on the thermodynamic expression, but that is going to be related with the experimental data. That's why the calculated phase diagram able to give the information about the constitutional and also about the thermodynamic parameter like enthalpy, entropy, heat capacity. So I mentioned that the phase is going to be expressed as an equation. Yes, liquid is a phase, it is going to be expressed as an equation. There are various kinds of phases, right? So if I'm taking some organic molecule, yes, it is going to be a covalent bond, or sometimes it is going to be an ionic bond. And if I'm taking the metals, it is going to be a metallic bond. And if I'm taking a ceramic, it is going to be a covalent bond, right? So there are various the materials which has a various kind of bonding and nature. So each one has to be addressed according to that model. So whenever we are writing the equation, we have to remember that we are talking about the physical state of the system. Physical state of the system, we are going to express in the equation that has to be as much as possible accurate. Okay, so like this, various models are available to express this equation. It is important to select these models, okay, and then the multi-component phase diagram or multi-component phase diagram database is going to be built. So it is started with a single element. Right now, the database for single element is already there, so no need to worry at all. And the second stage is about this binary. Okay, so it is going to be combination of the two elements from the unary data. So we are going to use the unary data, and if we are mixing, what is the thing going to happen? It is about the binary, and most of the binaries in the periodic table is completed. Next is ternary, but in the periodic table it is not completed. Still, it is lot of options in it. So it is going to be the combination of unary, binary, and we are going to look about this ternary interaction. And last one is about this quaternary. The last one is about this quaternary, and further we are able to build five components, six components. It is going to build up like why we have to go for multi-component? Because in reality, we are able to get only the multi-component. For example, if I consider steel, it is going to contain iron, carbon, sulfur, phosphorus, some amount of aluminum, titanium. So it is a never-ending elements. Okay, and in that we are playing among ourselves. We are adding some element. We are removing some elements to form a new alike, right? So we are able to generate the multi-component database. If you look at the Tahasti, yes, they are having the database. They are whenever they during the process, if there is any changes they need, they are able to look at the what is the phase will form. If they are adding some element, if they are removing some element, yes, it is they are able to do it in 5 or 10 minutes in the during the process itself. That is about the advantage of this. So I here I'm able to give some more example also. So L&T I'm able to talk and Sandvik I'm able to talk, and we are able to look about a lot of ferrous and non-ferrous industries. So this is the way people will develop. I'm just giving an example. How they will get this binary. So in this case, if you look at this, this is about the experimental data. This is enthalpy, activity of titanium in liquid, heat capacity of the intermediate phase. This is heat capacity. This is heat capacity. This is about the constitutional data, right? This is look nice, right? So if you connect these points, we are able to get the phase diagram. If you connect this point, we are able to get the phase diagram. But if you connect, that's the way people get the experimental phase diagram. But we are not able to get this information. But this Kalfad approach, we are able to get this phase diagram and also about this thermodynamic data. If I have the binary, yes, I'm able to go for the ternary. Here we are able to see that niobium titanium, nickel niobium, and nickel titanium. All these three are going to be these three sites. With this, I'm able to build a ternary phase diagram. With the ternary phase diagram, I'm able to get various slices. It can be a vertical or it can be a horizontal. Whatever way I want to cut, I want to look at the phase diagram. Yes, we are able to do. So that is about, this is the way people will create the database. In addition, we are able to know about this at what temperature, what composition that there is any invariant reaction is taking place. These are all the information we are able to get it from the database, but it is not limited. We are able to get some other information shortly. I will speak about it. In this way, people are created the database, and please remember that the database is different from the software. Okay, there are plenty of software. We can buy the database. We can use this database in all the software. Okay, and compared to the software, database is costly because it involves a lot of works behind this. So database is always costlier than the software. So these are all the various database available. If you can look about the steel, iron alloys, nickel-based super alloys, something if you want to interesting, we can look about the semiconductor. Yeah, that is the database is also available, and people are looking for the nuclear materials. Okay, that it is quite costly. Because even the experimental information, if you want to get it, is quite difficult. And another one, it is about the recently developed high entropy alloys. If I want to say that this high entropy alloys first PhD just came in 2009 or 10. Okay, but now the database is available. That is the advantage of this computational techniques. Okay, so what is the benefit of this database? Because we are able to understand the process and the service, and whatever we want to develop the new material, it is able to accelerate this process. Okay, and innovative development of new material, it is possible with this, and it is going to reduce the experimental approach, because experimental approach is time consuming, and all other chemicals whatever we are using for the process, we are going to pour it in the mother earth, which can be minimized. So these are all the information I'm just sharing with you. What are the information we are able to get it from this Kalfad approach? Anything related to the phase diagram? we are able to get it from this database. Okay, it may be directly related or it may be indirectly related. We are able to get it. So this is about this information what we are able to get. Now you get an idea where we are using. Okay, now we are able to see that where we are using. If you look at this additive manufacturing is their new concept. I hope people are interchanging the word 3D printing and the additive manufacturing, right? So people are in the additive manufacturing field. These Kalpa techniques are used. Alloy design, yes, especially people are using for this Kalpa techniques and recycling of the materials and hydrometallurgy alloys. If you take any stage of this material uh, processing. You can start from the extractive metallurgy. So Faxage is available and we are able to look at this casting, heat treatment, forging. So it is even during surface, if the material undergoes the failure analysis, people look for the culprit. So what are the phases actually present, what it may happen if it is due to the thermal failures at a particular temperature, what is the phase transformation is taking place, which causes the failure. So we are getting help from this culprit. Okay, that is the kind of application for this culprit. So now I just gave an idea about this Kalpad approach. How I'm going to give a few applications point of view. So you are able to appreciate better about this. So one is about this allied design. Okay. So instead of talking about this, I will go for the one of the research from this work. So if you look at this, it is about designing of aluminum alloys. Why do you want to look about aluminum alloys? If you look at this aluminum, it is a low density material. So people are aware about this. It is 2.7 gram per cc is the density. And it is a soft material, we know it, and it will easily undergo the corrosion on the surface. After that, corroded product is going to prevent that further corrosion. So these are all we know about it. Yeah, it is wonderful material. But if you look at this hardness, it is always less. Okay, so especially in the field of transport, people want to use aluminum alloys because of its low density. But its application is limited because of its soft nature. Because of its soft nature, so people think about that: is it possible to improve the hardness of the material or strength of the material by adding the alloying element? Okay, so if you look at the transport, if you the car panels are made up of duplex stainless steel, but in the case of iron, the density is going to be more. It is going to be approximately 7.8 or 7.6 gram per cc is about the density. So if I'm reducing the weight of this car, so the energy, the fuel energy, which is going to be used for the speed of the transport, instead of wasting its energy for pulling its own weight. Okay, pulling its own weight. So in that way, people are looking for that improve the or identify the new material instead of the steel. So then people think about this. This is about the research publication in 2020. So it is about combination of aluminum, titanium, zirconium. So they selected the material. If you look for this titanium is also attractive material. It is low density, but compared to aluminum, has a very good strength. So instead of aluminum, if you go the titanium, yes, we are able to save the fuel cost. But the problem is cost of the titanium is quite high. We are not able to use it wherever we want because we have to go for only the critical component. So, for example, if I use the titanium for making cycle, okay, the cost of the cycle if it goes for 3 lakhs or 4 lakhs, people won't prefer to buy the cycle, right? So, in the same way, we are not able to use titanium as the base material. So, we are looking for this optimized cost. So the aluminum is going to be the major element and titanium and zirconium is going to be the alloying element. So when they want to prepare the high strength, they have to know about what are the phases actually present in it, at up to what temperature that phase will be present, And so with this information, we are able to proceed the experiments. So with the help of the phase diagram, so they are able to select this particular composition, that is aluminum 87.5, titanium 6.25 and zirconium 6.25. So they are able to see that this particular composition, they are able to have these three phases. If they increase the temperature, the phase fraction it is going to change. The phase fraction it is going to change. So people are able to understand that, and with this combination, they started preparing the alloy. This is about using vacuum arc melting. So using melting, they are able to make the button type alloy, which is going to be around 5 or 10 grams. Okay. So then they homogenized this alloy. So the alloy is ready. Now what we will do? Obviously, we will go for the characterization. So they went for the different characterization to identify the phase, what are the stresses present in it, and how the elements are distributed using EBSD. Right. So when they went for the mechanical properties, they surprised that they got the highest hardness among the titanium alloy. Yes, it is going to be 2200 megapascal. 2200 megapascal is the hardness. So whenever we are looking for these things, we will think that yeah, it is nice. But is it happening in India? Yes, this is from the Dr. B.S. Murthy group. I hope you might aware about this B.S. Murthy, who is very well-known person in the metallurgist, and also about this nanomaterials. Right now, he is IIT Hyderabad director. Okay, this is from his book, which was published in 2020. This is about NAST. They are also developing a lot of material. For that, they have to understand about the process. Okay, so they are working in many projects. One of the project is about the energy storage, especially for the hydrogen storage. So I also observed that a few people in your FTP also people are talking about this energy storage material. So especially for hydrogen, people are looking for that. Yes, we can able to carry the hydrogen cylinder, which is going to be efficient. We are able to, the productivity is going to be more. But carrying hydrogen cylinder is like carrying a bomb with us, right? So that's why people looking for this hydrogen storage material. So the material slowly has to release the hydrogen. So in that way, people are looking for these metal hydrides, which is able to act as a absorption of hydrogen or hydrogen generation or dehydrogenation. Both the thing it has to takes place. That one then only it is possible for the hydrogen storage. So people identified some of the elements. Yes, it is possible to act. So lithium, magnesium, calcium, boron, silicon. With this combination, okay, they want to look at these reaction path. Okay, so here if you look at this temperature in the y-axis, x-axis, and phase fraction is going to be the y-axis. Now they have the database that is about thermodynamic database or CALPHAT database. With that, they want to look at that particular composition, phase fraction, how the reaction path is going to be. So it is going to be a mixture of lithium borohydride and calcium hydrate. Okay. They are able to observe that when the temperature increases, now we are able to see that this is the temperature, this is about the phase fraction. So if I am taking at the room temperature, it is going to have lithium borohydride, and another one we are able to see that calcium hydrate. Right? This is the 2B2, right? Calcium hydrate. If I increases the temperature, there are going to be a various product. Yes, we are able to see that calcium borohydride, and we are able to see that the different combination of calcium borohydride. In addition, we are able to see that 6.1 percentage of hydrogen when we are increasing the temperature. This is the one we want it, right? So we need some material which has to store the hydrogen. If I increase the temperature or something else, if I do, if I'm doing that, it has to release the hydrogen. Now we are able to see that if we increase the temperature, 6.1 percentage of hydrogen is actually released. That's about the good stuff for the hydrogen storage material. So slowly, if we are able to study about this, we are able to look about this various combination. We are able to look about the reaction path. What are the other phases also formed, because the safety is important, other phases should be stable. Okay. Or on the other phases, what is the state of the phase? It is a gaseous or liquid or solid. That is also important. So those things we are able to study with the help of this CALPHAT database. This is about the another example related to the hydrogen storage material. So there people concentrated on the metal hydride. This is about concentration of the alloys. So with the phase diagram, they are able to look for these various combination. So they are able to know about in which path they have to take, by which they are able to reach that uh, able to identify some novel material for the hydrogen storage. So from the study, they found that there are 4 ternary systems. If they want to start with 4 ternary system and I start for starting the reaction, then it is going to be a time consuming one. So with the database, they are able to shortlist it from 4 to 2. From 4 to 2, they are able to shortlist and they are able to proceed. This is about is another application. This is about the duplex stainless steel. This is especially for the boiler component. So I hope you might aware about this. In boiler, they want to go for 9 chromium 1 moly steel to increase the efficiency. Okay, the efficiency is normally it is going to be around 36%. By changing this 9 chromium 1 moly, they are expecting the efficiency may go up to 42%. That is their expectation. So when they are changing, they are going to change the material for the boiler component. So then they have to know about, understand about the various process, because for making the boiler component, it is involves about a various process like rolling, forging, welding, simulation, or high temperature, how it is going to behave. I think someone is up to mute. Yeah, thank you. So when they are doing the process, they faced one of the problem is about this. It formed one of the brittle phases from the microstructure. They are able to get it during welding. So then they went for this CALPHAT approach. They try to understand what is happening here. They are able to come across that this is due to the presence of nitrogen. Okay, so when they did the welding without nitrogen, yes, this is going to be the microstructure. During the welding, with the help of the nitrogen, they are facing this problem. So the microstructure, we are able to see that it is a dendrite structure which is create the problem. One thing they have to do, they should not use nitrogen gas, or are they able to increase more? So in that way we are able to reduce it. Both the way we have to think, right? So if during the welding process, if they need nitrogen, they are not able to avoid it. Then in the phase diagram, in the CALPHAT approach, they tried that to increase the quantity of the nitrogen. Okay, then they are able to play nicely, they are able to get this better microstructure. So with that they are able to proceed. But it is about 4 or 5 years project for them to look at all the process, stabilize it for this 9 chromium 1 moly steel for all the process. This is about the one kind of problem which was addressed using this CALPHAT approach. This is also the same thing, 9 chromium 1 moly steel. Normally it is called as P91 steel. So with this, if you look at this complexity of this phase diagram, it says that how many phases are present. If you want to do it experimentally, it is going to be a really tough one. But with the CALPHAT, yes, we are able to understand better. So another one I want to talk about the high entropy alloys. I hope you people may heard about it, but because in metallurgy we are all enjoyed a lot about high entropy alloys. That during my period, if something is developed new, so I'm really enjoyed about this. In the case of high entropy alloys, it is going to be combination of 5 materials. Okay, and approximately equal composition. So normally if it is 2 material or 3 material, we are able to expect some ternary phases, complex phases, right? That like normally you will say that sigma phase, delta phase are complex crystal structure. So So, but in the case of high entropy alloys, if we are having approximately 5 elements and the approximately equal composition, what happened? If more 5 elements are present, there is a chaos. Okay, so before it forming the crystal structure, because of the chaos, because of the entropy, it formed the simple crystal structure. So multiple element, it does not allow to form a complex structure. It makes them into form a simple crystal structure. So what? That a question normally people will ask, but that was given answer by this Ashway diagram. Here we are able to see that in the x-axis it is about the ultimate tensile strength, and y-axis is about this total elongation of the material up to fracture. Okay. Now people are comparing this material with respect to strength and the ductility, on the other way elongation. Here we are able to see the high entropy. Now we are able to see that it has high tensile strength and also have the ductility. So it is about the right combination of the property. Always we are looking for this. And one more thing with respect to the materials, okay, you just look at the area, how much area it is covering. So it is going to give more flexibility for us. So that's why everyone got enjoyed a lot. So in this case, if you look at this, the first paper, it came in from Taiwan professor. Okay. After that, it is from the no, first is from the Dr. Ranganathan from IIC Bangalore, followed by Taiwan professor, and then it's about Dr. B.S. Murthy group. And B.S. Murthy group, they conducted this high entropy alloys with sponsor from the Boeing. Okay, they conducted a workshop related to this. Lot of research works are going on this. They started with this using milling process, but now people are trying with the casting and various other methods for this, even trying for this additive manufacturing also. So the advantage of this Calpert, now the database is ready. But if you look at this Calpert, it is started for this equilibrium process. Okay, but high entropy alloy, it is a non-equilibrium that. But by understanding the thermodynamics behind it, people develop this database. With this, we are able to get about these complete details of these phases. Okay, so we are able to know what is the phase is present, up to what temperature it will present, what are the phases present. All these things we are able to play with this space diagram. Okay, that is about the advantage of high entropy alloy. This is also the same thing. Now I will talk about additive manufacturing, so I won't take much time. So in the case of additive manufacturing, now we know that it is a fantasy, but on the other way, once if additive manufacturing is become um, cost effective, in future we can believe that additive manufacturing is going to become a cost effective. Now it is not possible. So now it is in the research level or in the making the prototype level. So it is going to be helpful for making product without any loss. Whenever where people are doing the process, we can expect some wastage that can be maximum is going to be minimized by the additive manufacturing process. So now people are almost comfortable with the additive manufacturing if they are using the polymer, that is the 3D printing. But when we are going for this additive manufacturing for the metal, how we are going to run the process? So what we will do, we will have a metal powder which is going to be spreaded over the plane. So people will pass the laser beam or the electron beam. We know that it is going to be a high energy beam. So this is going to melt that particular powders in its path. Okay, when it melts, obviously the solidification is also going to take place. Agglomeration of the particles is going to take place. So whenever the path of these laser beams are completely solidified, okay, remaining parts are going to be the powders. So this is the way the product is going to, they are going to make it. So they will apply the laser beam or electron beam over the material by stacking various layer of the metal powders. So slowly they will get the final product. Even people are using this similar technique for the construction of homes. They are able to finish it in a day, right? So if they are trying for the metal, but when they're trying for the metal, they are facing a lot of problems, right? One of the problem is the solidification, which is going to take place much faster, much faster, because they are starting with the powder. When the solidification is taking place much faster, then it is going to be a non-equilibrium process. So we cannot expect that equilibrium phase will form. Okay, so we can expect that the solidification cracking, ductility, dip cracking, it can form any new phases or metaphases, or it can undergo some chemical reaction. And another one is about the residual stuff, because it cooled fast, right? Solidified much faster. We are able to expect these kind of failures. Now people are looking at what we can able to do for this. So with the help of the phase diagram, they are able to optimize this composition, and which can be applied to the finite element model, or it can directly use to the phase field model to get the required property, because in the phase field we are able to get the microstructure, right? That is the one way people are thinking about this. This is also about the additive manufacturing. So if you look at this designing of functionally graded material, I will tell you what is functionally graded material. In the bottom, it is going to be one material. In the top, it is going to be another material. In between the region, people are going to slowly increase the top region. So it is not going to be abrupt change. There is a slow change in this chemical composition. This is nothing but a functionally graded material. So using additive manufacturing, so in the bottom, it is going to be commercially pure titanium or titanium 6 aluminum 4 vanadium alloy, 21 layers, because additive manufacturing layer by layer it is going to be constructed. And the next one is going to be the slowly increasing the composition of the invar. It is going to be 32 layers, and the top is going to be invar, that is about the 36 layers. Invar is an alloy of iron and nickel. Okay, so titanium is going to be the combination. Now people have to know about that in the different layer when we are going there, what is the phases it is going to form. It should not be brittle phase, right? What is the phases it is going to form. So with the help of the phase diagram, that is about the CalPERT database, they are able to understand better. So they, when they tried with the solidification also, this is about this non-equilibrium process, and this is about the equilibrium process. With this, they are able to get these various microstructure in the different layers. So the culprit, if you look at that, it's always giving the direction and speed up the process. And one more thing with this application, I will stop here. So this is about this, people want to try about the additive manufacturing product, which is free from the tip. So one of the group, what they did, they want to manufacture the material. So they took an example of HSLA 115. So I will tell you what is HSLA. It is about high strength low alloy steel. So it is going to contain maximum amount of iron and smaller amount of carbon. And micro level, they are going to have the alloying element like niobium, tungsten, titanium, those kind of. So if they want to make any product using HSLA, what they will do, they will use the metal powders. Okay, they will use this HSLA steel. From the HSLA steel, they will make the powders. Okay, they will make the powders. Then this powder will undergo the additive manufacturing, followed by isostatic pressing and tempering. So this is the general procedure they want to do, and they know about at each stage how the structure is going to modify, and what are the parameters it is related to the structure, and what is the properties they will get. But this is the expected one. But what people observed here is, whenever they are starting the composition, during the powder making, people observed that there is a deviation. For example, if I want 0.6% of carbon, sometimes it goes for 0.55, or sometimes it goes for 0.61. During powder production, I'm not able to get the exact composition. That affect the properties. That affect the properties of the material. Now they want to optimize it about the initial composition of the HSLA steel for the additive manufacturing process. So they come up with a plan. Okay, they come up with a plan for integrated computational modeling. Okay, this is about this planned one for additive manufacturing. Two, this is for optimizing the initial composition. So they started with the Calford. So they adjusted the composition. They are looking for the composition around this material. Okay, so if you look at this number of composition, how much composition they look? They look about around 4,50,000 composition. It is not a small number, right? So around the initial composition, they look for with a Calford approach, with various models they apply, and they are able to optimize. This yellow color, it talks about this is the expected property, what we want to get it from the additive manufacturing. This is about this thermocol, what is the phases it is going to form, how it is going to play. And this is about this property related, this one it is in the light green. Okay, and blue color talks about what is the model they applied for the property. So they look for this thermodynamic database. They are able to identify what are the phases present in it. In this case, you are able to see that austenite, ferrite, metal carbide, M6C, M2Cs. So if you look at the strength of the material, each phase is contributed in different manner. So for example, in each phase, the strengthening mechanism, it is going to be different. So they studied with that, and then they compiled that. Then they are able to calculate the yield strength. Okay. Similarly, they did it for every element and every element's contribution to its properties. Okay. I think time is up. So we are able to see that. So they are able to optimize the initial composition. They took almost the starting with the alloy around this region. They started 4,50,000 composition. After that optimized one, they got the success of 44.7%. It is not a small one, right? So getting this 44.7% of 44.7% of successful in the additive manufacturing products. Okay, that is about this advantage of this ICME. So now we are able to look at that. We are able to apply for a novel material. It is going to accelerate the process also. So with that, I will stop my presentation. If you are having any questions, you can ask me.
Nice presentation, ma'am. My special thanks to you that you agreed to give a talk when Dr. Shominath has some problem and he couldn't give the talk. So, ma'am, I hope that audience must have some questions. So this talk is now open for the discussion and question answering session is start now. So I invite audience for the questions. From my side, ma'am, I have one question.
Yes.
The database what we are discussing here, is it a paid database or it's available free of cost?
If it is few elements like binary or ternary, it is already available in the literature. We are able to take the data and we are able to use it. If it is multi-component, one is about we have to spend our time to develop the database. It is about like home cooking. Otherwise, we have to purchase the database. For example, I bought iron database. It is about the cost of 6 lakhs.
Okay. So all database is not free. You have to purchase.
Because someone is working behind that.
Okay. Thank you. The audience side, if they have any questions, rather they can write the questions in the chat box. We will read it for you, but it would be better if you interact with the expert by yourself.
So whenever I'm talking with the engineering people, they will feel that I'm talking more about the science. So I expected more questions from the science background.
Yeah, well, it's really nice because what you presented here is really a base for the science, base for the research actually. So if sometime we experimentalists, we fail, at that case, these data as well as the modeling, it really helps a lot. So the information you provided was really nice and interesting for us. So I'm still waiting for the questions from the audience side.
Good afternoon, ma'am. One question is from my side. Can we use
Yes, ma'am.
this database to study the phase diagrams of magnetic materials, which contains 3 or 4 elements?
Yes, if it is 3 or 4 elements, we can develop database from the literature itself. With that, we are able to understand better. For example, from metallurgy background, I am giving that whenever we want to weld the steel, okay, so because of the magnetic property, it will create the problem. After welding, that it is not going to be the proper way of welding. It is has lot of defects. Then people understand that this is due to the magnetic interaction. So with the phase diagram, they looked at that where the steel it is going to be paramagnetic. So they heated the steel in that particular temperature where it become paramagnetic, and then they did the welding process. This is looks simple, but if we didn't get the answer as a researcher, we know that how much we have to search for that.
Thank you.
Yeah. If there is no questions from the audience sides, I would like to take privilege to thank our speaker, Dr. K. Shanthe. Madam, thank you very much once again that you helped us at the last moment when I've already explained that Dr. Shominath Roy has some problem, he couldn't deliver the talk. And I want to share this experience with my audience that I requested ma'am tomorrow morning, rather it was tomorrow evening when I could approach to the madam by some of my names. And madam quickly said, no, I'm ready to help you because we know that this is the obvious problem in this type of activities. So madam quickly agreed to help us, and today definitely it was a really nice. I was not expecting such a nice presentation, but ma'am, thanks to you for sharing your experience and for this talk. From my side, from the Maharaja Ranjit Singh Punjab Technical University side, I especially give thanks to you, and from the audience side, ma'am, thank you very much for this talk.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for giving this opportunity. I have to thank myself to Dr. Sujay Chaudhary when he's our mentor. When he says, we cannot say no. Thank you.
So nice of you, ma'am. So nice.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you.
So audience, so it was the last session of the day. So tomorrow morning we will meet once again with the next talk. So for today, we are just going to float a Google form for the attendance purpose. You are requested to fill the form today itself. Very soon you will find a Google form in your WhatsApp group. So, or if you have any query, any doubt, or anything else, you can discuss.
Shall I leave, sir?
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
Just asking, shall I leave? Shall I leave the session?
Yeah, please, ma'am, please, no issue.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Sir, can you provide the literature, whatever the speakers are presenting the PPD, can you provide that in PDF form as a material?
Yeah, sir. Actually, the details of this FTP is there in the brochure. We have already sent to you.
No. Sir, I'm asking about the materials. Those lecturers are giving the deliver the lectures, morning, evening, and all the 3 sessions. Can we have that PPT also?
The
Can you provide to us by email?
Sir, just try to understand this is the intellectual property of the speaker. Speaker has shared something on the screen. We will provide you the video recording of these that we have taken consent from the speakers. But I cannot ask my speaker to provide the PPT. If it will help you, we try to give it.
FDP in that Mumbai pharmacy department, they also same Atal FDP. They also provide all the literature material after FDP with them because you have attended the questions examination. maybe the question coming from that only, in that material only.
The questions of in the exam, in the test that we will conduct in the last day of this FTP, that would be based upon,
That's why.
yeah, the FTP itself. We'll take out the questions from the videos or from the what we listen in these talks. These questions will be based upon only the session, only on the based upon the talks the experts have given. And test would be conducted through the Google form.
Okay.
I can see Dr. Parveen is here. Good afternoon, sir. Sir, kindly unmute yourself.
Good afternoon.
Sir, how are you?
Actually, yesterday I was on leave, so today I joined, and then luckily I was free to listen some of the talks, and it's really nice to know that the organizers have covered a very wide range of subject. I could listen 3-4 talks, very nice talk, and this I think before lunch the interaction session was very nice. That I could see talk on carbon nanotube, and then this speaker was so nicely explaining the physics part as well as synthesis part, and then he took the questions very seriously, and then I really enjoyed the interaction with the people. So as I said, this talk will be slightly different because I couldn't see any talk which is having some relevance with except Ravi Kumar. He might have covered in very first lecture some of the ion beam activities. So I will explore those things in more details. And this participants' strength is also very good. You have, I think, more than 100 participants. So that is very nice to see that this program by AICTE for faculty development has been taken very seriously. So I thank you because I am looking both of you from the morning. So you are very sincere to your duty, and that actually is a best part of any organizing team. So best wishes for the rest of the programs, because I will speak only on the last day, and my best wishes to participants, organizers, and the speakers, that mutually we can do lots of good things and we can share knowledge and we can learn. That is the beautiful part of the science and engineering.
Thanks. Thank you very much, sir, for your encouragement, for these nice words. I would like to introduce Dr. Parveen. He is one of the speakers in this FTP. He will give talk on Friday morning. So I don't want to formally introduce sir for today, but thank you, sir. Thanks for accepting our invitation, and so you are agreed to give the talk in this FTP. So this is just your blessings that we are able to manage all these things.
No, this is many congratulations, and pleasure is mutual, because one cannot do, as I said, that science and engineering, there has to be team efforts, and we should encourage the people, those are not exposed to the system. We should develop the pathway for the future generation also. We should take people from every corner of the country who are willing to do in science. So encouragement has to be for them, and expert has they should be ready for such kind of things, because you requested, I looked at that it is a faculty development program. So there will be a wide audience with different background, different feeling. So I really enjoy the talking in such a gathering, and it is our moral duty also to encourage youth and new generation to, so that they are the backbone of any system, or the country really needs youth, knowledgeable youth, and their enthusiasm can be used for investigating several things in science, because it's really important. So thank you very much for your kind words and introduction. So I will be this morning session 9:30, because I am not staying in campus, so I traveled a lot. So if I am little bit late, so please manage it. I will try to come in time in my office. So my residence is very far from the office. So you know this Delhi traffic, and sometime we got stuck in traffic jam and this thing. So I will leave early, but I'm just pointing out a possibility if I am little bit late. So please manage that.
I think our audience will is cooperative, and definitely we will manage, sir.
So after listening talks, I have added a few transparencies in my talk. So that exercise I was also doing side by side. That I was listening the speakers, and based on the audience and the subject and this thing, I have added for the interest of the audience. So I made my talk in a way that it will be having something for everyone.
Nice, sir. Nice, very nice.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Bhamra, and good luck for rest of the program. My best wishes.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Shubhamal is there. He has raised the hand. Is there any query, sir? Okay. So thank you, audience. Thank you. Thanks for being patient listener. So let's close the session for today. We will have interaction tomorrow morning at sharp 9:30. So thank you for now. Thanks for the session.